So NewJeans Daniel attended the Omega event in Japan, and just want to make it clear that this was a brand deal that was inked by Hybe, by Adore, before this whole mess started. So this was still under Adore, but she did go to the event with a Hybe staff. So, which is very different from their attitude before the penalty was put in place. So this was sealed by Adore. And a lot of people like, what changed? Why are you now suddenly allowing yourself to go to an event or you go to events with Adore staff? And what happened is the fine, $750,000. If you would remember, the court said, you try to do anything without the involvement of Adore, and you're going to get fined. So that's $750,000. That's a huge amount. So I think they got paid 3.7 or 3.1 in 2023. So that's like a third of their of not a third, a quarter of her payout for 2023. And I'm sure that or maybe she's investing it, but if she didn't invest it, then that's already like a quarter gone. I'm sure some of her money were already have already been spent. I don't know, has already been spent by some on something, but the bottom line is that it's a huge amount of money, right? So that's what changed. And this is, money can do a lot of magic. Money can move things, and one of the things that it can move is their brain and their frame of mind. So they kind of realize that, okay, the court can garnish my bank account, my money, and I better, do what the court is asking me to do. The other thing that could have happened is a breach of contract with Omega. So they do have a contract with Omega, and they signed that contract. Well, it was Hybe who signed in their behalf, but Hybe can certainly sue them for breach of contract. So that is what changed. So she attended the event, and she was with a Hybe staff this time. Okay, now they did not anymore did a follow up appeal. So they didn't appeal the last decision anymore. They did not appeal that. So it looks like they're just going to continue and start doing, I guess, fulfill their existing obligations under Hybe, and start doing business through Hybe now. So no more appeal. Now they're just waiting for the main case to finish, which might take even 2 to 3 years. All right. So one thing that is happening is that they are starting to get replaced by their brand partners. So Pepper, for example, already got Stray Kids as global brand ambassadors. So they're out of the picture. And as always, money speaks. So if you stop receiving the money that you're used to getting, it's going to change the way that you think. So that's one of the brands that replaced them. And then also, there's this whole issue about Chanel. As you know, one of the members, Min Hee, was the newest brand ambassador for Chanel, which I thought was perfect because she's so pretty. Min Hee is so pretty. So for the longest time, she was a local ambassador. So um, her activities was for Chanel were actually limited to Korea. And then just before this entire mess started, she was promoted to a global ambassador. And Chanel actually announced it. They said, "We welcome our new global ambassador," and blah, blah, blah. And it's Minji. And then she shot her first campaign for them. And this is it. I think it's something for her skin, something, whatever. Now, a lot of people are saying, no, she's still an ambassador because this specific campaign is still up. If you go to chanel.com, it's still there. You will still find it. But if you go and check their website, this was actually done 2024. So this campaign has been ready since 2024. So it's going to run until 2025. So it could be that they're allowing it to run so that sure, the campaign is still in Chanel, but it is because the contract is still on. So they might keep this campaign until 2025. Who knows? But as of now, if you go into view the code of the site, you will see that this was actually built in 2025. All right, 2024. Now, another thing that came out last week was that the contract. So, a lot of people are asking if they like, is it possible that New Jeans is just trying to run this to the ground? Meaning, they're just dragging this until their contract expires. Now, according to a lawyer in South Korea, it is possible that the contract gets extended um, to cover up or to for the company enough for the company to recover what they have lost. Meaning, if New Jeans is not doing any activity, any work for Hybe for a year, Hybe can act or Adore can actually ask for the contract to be extended for another year because that's what they lost during their this lawsuit. So that is possible. It is not guaranteed, but if usually there the companies would actually put that in the contract. So if that is in the agreement, that if there is any kind of disturbance to their work like military service, long-term illnesses, or other force majeure reasons, then the contract automatically gets extended to allow the company to recover what they have lost. So if they've lost 1 year, then it'll get extended to another year. Usually it is built into the contract. If it is not built into the contract, then the company, the management company, can ask the court to extend the contract automatically. So is it possible that New Jeans thinks that it is going to just expire? Probably, but I'm sure that their law firm already explained to them this possibility that this is a force majeure and it's going to either automatically extend your contract or they can ask the court to extend the contract. So if they are delaying it for that belief, then it's not a clear cut path for them. Force majeure is a legal term referring to unforeseeable events beyond a party's control that prevent them from fulfilling their contractual obligation. In other words, it's a get out of obligation clause, which is used when something extraordinary happens. So, for example, as I've said, somebody gets sick, and you can't work for a year, then the company is not earning money from you. Then the company will extend the contract. Usually it's built in, it's already in the contract, but that if there is a force majeure, they will automatically extend the contract. If it is not there, then they can ask the court to extend the contract for them to recover what they have lost. Okay, so that, I hope that answers your question. If the court or the agency, this is just an explanation, the court or the agency recognizes this as a suspension of obligation, the time during the legal dispute can be added back to the end of the contract. So right now, New Jeans is refusing to do any kind of work, new work, that is. So Adore is not actually earning any money. Then they can ask the court to extend the contract to cover the time when the group is not working. Okay. All right. Now, and that's not going to happen unless that's not going to happen if it is the agency's fault. Okay. Force majeure, I explained that. Okay. So now another thing that someone sent this to me. So, we've been talking about how great or how good, maybe not great, but how good, well, I'll say great, how good Min Hee-jin is as a creative director, right? She's really good at visuals, creative direction. Well, apparently, the creative director is actually still employed in Adore. And it's not Min Hee-jin, it's actually Nayeon Kim Nayeon. So she's still in Adore, and she's primarily responsible for a lot of the visuals of New Jeans. So here are some of the things that she has done. So she's worked for New Jeans, she's worked for other companies, she's worked for SM Entertainment, and she still is right now still with Adore. She's still employed with Adore. So it's not entirely Min Hee-jin that is responsible for 100% of the look or the creative direction. She's certainly pitched in a considerable amount. So this is her Instagram. If you want to visit it, she's really pretty good. There's a certain eeriness in the way that she executes her concepts. So, yeah, so these are some of her work and some of the artists that she has worked with. So she did come from SM Entertainment though. But ever since this was disclosed that this person, Nayeon Kim, is still with Adore, she started getting bombarded and harassed by fans of NewJeans. They've been calling her weak, a sellout because she refuses to leave Adore. So, but it's quite a discovery because Min Hee-jin has always been hailed for her skill in the visuals of it, but it's not. I'm sure that a large part of it is still hers. Just want to make that clear. I'm sure still a large part of it is still hers because that's her signature. Like even when she was still working with SM Entertainment, when she worked with Girls' Generation, with FX, with Red Velvet, that's her visual, that's her aesthetic. So I'm sure that a huge part of it is still hers, but it is not just hers alone because Nayeon Kim is certainly contributing to it. Okay. Um, MHJ taking credit for other people's work, color me shocked. Yeah, I don't think it's, I'm not saying that she has no contribution whatsoever. Just want to make it that clear. A huge part, I believe, a huge part of the aesthetics and the creative direction of New Jeans is still hers because that